What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing fantastic today. This is Raphael Garcia here for episode number 105 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Today is Thursday, January 13th. The year is 2022. And as always, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this show. Please be sure to subscribe to wherever you found us, like, share, and spread this across your social media platforms. You can always hit the show up at MMAratings.net and .com. Those are the two places where you can find all of our content. But you can also check us out on MMA Ratings.net on both Instagram and Twitter. And search for us across various podcasting platforms, including Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Overcast, and Spotify, and YouTube at MMA Ratings in that space as well. To myself, you can hit me up at rgarcia_sports. I'm always going to shout out my co-host Shawan Humes from the MMA Ratings podcast. You can check us out every Wednesday as we talk about the world of combat sports. You can check him out on social media at the Black Jordan Breen. Now, tonight, I'll probably go about half an hour tonight. There's not a whole lot I really want to dive into, but I do want to talk about some things from this week, some news that has popped off from this week. There's probably about 5 stories I want to cover pretty quickly. I want to give some thoughts on some of the things that have happened across wrestling this year and also talk about the Royal Rumble a little bit and have some of my early thoughts about that. We're still 2 weeks out from that show as well, too. So let's go ahead and buckle up. One of my co-hosts is walking up right now, so hopefully he doesn't jump into the camera. So let's start with talking about probably the biggest news from the week, and this involved backstage drama because the WWE has been sued by MLW. Now, this came out yesterday, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and it was some pretty big news. Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful, he hinted at this, something was going down back in, I think, of October or so, where there were some issues between MLW and WWE back then. So now the news is kind of catching up to that story, and we have more of an idea of what went down. And MLW released a press release about the situation. Excuse me. And it really stems from the WWE tampering with a deal that they have, or they being MLW had with Tubi, the streaming application. So this is a pretty big story because MLW basically had an opportunity to provide content to Tubi, which is a streaming application. And I don't know a lot of people that use it. The only reason why I know what it is because it's one of those apps that shows up on my PlayStation dashboard, which is where I usually watch TV. And I know of it through that way. So I have an understanding of what the platform is. In this situation was that MLW was supposedly had a deal in place to be involved with content on Tubi, but Tubi is owned by Fox. Fox is a partner with the WWE. So there was some tampering there when specifically Stephanie McMahon herself is named in the situation as she is one of the individuals who pushed Fox to nix the deal with MLW. So that is what is the root cause of this litigation that we're seeing. And it's probably going to be a very long and drawn out situation. WWE has money to do that, these types of deals. You kind of see that right now going on with the UFC over their monopolization of MMA lawsuit that they're dealing with a bunch of other fighters and backers there as well too. So this will probably face a similar situation to that. But it's very interesting, and I have to even read more into it this week as well too. I saw the news come out, and I was going to write about it, but it was just so much to really kind of dive into, and I didn't touch that yet. I want to spend like a good weekend looking at that. But this is pretty big because it's something that you want to keep an eye out on as more people begin to push back against some of the WWE's practices. And I don't think that will MLW win the situation? I don't know. I know that like I said, it's going to be pretty long and drawn out, and you have to wonder who their representatives are. I've seen some information out about that, so I will definitely be looking into that, and if they have the finances to really have or take part in a long, drawn out legal battle. That's usually how these tend to go. You see them across so many different spectrums when individuals that have a lot of money and a lot of finances, that when they get involved in legal situations, they can usually draw them out to the point where the people who are seeking some type of I don't want to say justice, but some type of recourse for some harm that's been done to them, that you have to wonder if they can weather the storm. So that's going to be the same situation here with MLW, but that was definitely the biggest news story to watch this week. Another one from WWE, also that something else that Sean Ross Sapp broke, was about Corey Graves. And there's a potential that he may be returning to the ring. So, of course, we know Corey. He is the color commentator over at Monday Night Raw. I mean, I understand that that's how most people know him. I think he's good in that role, per se. I think he has a personality to be really good in that role. I don't know if I care to see him back in the ring. When I read this, I looked at this as, this is an opportunity for him to do something different with a new face. I think that he is a good wrestler. He was a good wrestler. If you aren't too familiar with his work, you can definitely find a lot of it, or I'm not sure if you can find a lot of it on the WWE Network. But he and Pac were former NXT Tag Team Champions. I'm sure you can find some of his stuff from searching across the interwebs. So he definitely does have experience there. And it's unfortunate when anyone has to end their career early or premature because of injuries, especially concussions, because we still don't really know what the long-term ramifications of concussions are and what they kind of look like. They look different in every single person. But according to the report around this, that Graves had some faith restored when he saw individuals like Christian returning, Edge returning, Bryan Danielson returning. Bryan Danielson and Christian both were supposedly pushed out of wrestling pushed out from wrestling with WWE because they could not get cleared because of concussion issues. But you saw both individuals come back. Bryan Danielson has sustained run with WWE, and now he's doing work over at AEW, killing it there. Same deal with Christian. He made a brief comeback with WWE. I think he was in the Royal Rumble last year before returning and having a run in AEW as well. One thing that Sean Ross Sapp noted in his report was that Graves was listed on like the no contact list, like pages on that list, because of the extensive neck injuries that she has. So his interest kind of popped up when he noticed during the 24/7 championship segment from a few weeks back, when Corey Graves was physically involved in that. Like, he won the title, and I think he rolled up Byron Saxton. Maybe Byron Saxton rolled him up, but he was involved in some physical altercations there. It may have been like quote unquote minor, but that's still something huge for someone who was involved or was listed on the do not contact list. So that's good news for Corey. Carmella tweeted about it as well too. She had a pretty good tweet where she mentioned that the It and Grit couples are shaking or silent or something like that. That being Miz and Maurice and Beth Phoenix and Edge. I mean, okay, I don't care to see that. They will probably be paired together. So I mean, that's what WWE does. Again, I don't really care to see that too much, but I'm glad that someone who is a face that we have not seen in the wrestling ring may get an opportunity to come back and do some things. That's good for him, and it's also good to know that his health is doing better, and he's in a better place with that too. Speaking of health, Smackdown is in trouble. Not in trouble, but they are having an issue with injuries that keep mounting up. So the first one was Drew McIntyre. Drew was injured. He was injured before WWE Day 1, but after that, he was kind of written off the show after his match with Madcap Moss. He was written off of that show with an injury angle, and he hasn't been back on the show since because he's getting a pre-existing injury kind of dealt with. So that's one big name. Then the second was Sasha Banks. She was injured at a show in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Of course, it's my hometown that played a part in this. As you know, I cannot stand Fayetteville. You could not pay me to move back to that area. I barely go back and visit my dad. He's still there. But Fayetteville, North Carolina, one of the worst places in the United States, in my opinion, was where she was performing along with Charlotte Flair, where she got injured. She tweeted out that she was okay, so a lot of people were kind of thinking that she was fine. But news came out that she's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, which will put her out past the Royal Rumble. So that's a big deal there because she was on my list of people that could have won the Rumble, but I don't think that's clearly not the case now because she's not even going to be able to be in it. So that's another big name that's off. And then tonight, wrote about this over at Daily DDT. Xavier Woods is injured, and he was talking about that on G4, which is a video game show that he is one of the frequent hosts on. And he was talking about being injured in the January 7th match with the Usos over on SmackDown. He injured in a muscle that's between your foot and your calf. If you've ever heard of plantar fasciitis, it's like people who have foot injuries. You see this I tend to see this a lot in like a lot of basketball players and some martial artists as well too. But plantar fasciitis, I think is how you say that. But the plantaris muscle is a muscle that Xavier was injured, and he said it was during that match on SmackDown. He expects to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. That's what he said from his own words if he takes care of it. And Woods had a previous Achilles injury which kept him out of most of last was it 2020, I believe. But man, those types of injuries are serious. The Achilles injury, because you see those in basketball a lot as well too, and some people are never the same when they try to come back. So again, we wish all 3 of those individuals speedy recoveries, good health. You never, like, we all enjoy professional wrestling. We enjoy like the brutality behind it, but you never really want to see people get hurt. But I talked about Ray Phoenix's injury last week. That was, that was something bad. So you don't want to see these situations happen. So we wish that all 3 of these individuals come back stronger and better than before. But SmackDown definitely has 3 names at the top of the card that they're without. So hopefully they take this as an opportunity to elevate some other people. We can hope for that. Charlotte Flair has barely been on the show since her match with Toni Storm. She had a match with Naomi last week, which was good. But this is an opportunity for them to elevate some new names. I hope they do so. I don't believe they will, just because it's WWE. But again, I do wish those individuals a speedy recovery and best wishes to them. Brody King arrived in AEW on Wednesday, so he's been hinted at multiple times over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And a lot of people have really been anticipating this, I'm not going to say return, this entrance to AEW. He joined the Malachi Black, and they're forming what has already been dubbed the House of Black. So if you have any familiarity with Brody King and Malachi Black, I think they're currently PWG tag team champions. They've been champions in another organization together as well too. Maybe Ring of Honor. Let me check. Malachi Black. I was looking at this yesterday as I wrote a news piece about his arrival. But okay, I think I'm wrong here. Him and Brody King, they're the kings of the Black Throne, are currently the PWG Tag Team Champions. They've held those belts for 110 days, winning them back at September of last year, where they defeated Black Taurus and Demonic Flamita. But yes, they are tag team champions together, so they're in AEW together now, and they look like they're building a stable around Malachi Black. How do I feel about that? I think it'll be cool. He's doing some great stuff over there in AEW. I love everything about him. I just wish that they would shorten his theme music and release it onto Spotify, but that's not the biggest complaint. I don't know so much about Brody King. I know he had an extensive run in Ring of Honor. Let's see what titles he held in Ring of Honor. What did he do while he was there? But he's only 34 years old. He's not that old. He was a tag team champion with Jacob Fatu. He was tag team champion with Marty Scurll twice. Once was in ROH, with Marty Scurll and PCO, and he was also tag team champions with PCO in ROH and NWA. So, I mean, he has an extensive run, and I think that it will be. This is a good pickup for AEW. This is a good pickup for Malachi Black. I think fans were really interested in from what I'm seeing from people who were there. Fans were definitely chanting for him, and they were expecting this. Like I said, this moment has been meant to come for a while. It's been hinted at a lot, so he's definitely there, and that's probably the biggest AEW news of the week. I wanted to touch on quickly the collective for the Culture 3 was announced this week. AJ Gray tweeted about it on Wednesday. I always get my days of the week mixed up because I feel like everything's a blur. But AJ Gray tweeted about it on Wednesday, and he has some things. I guess he's been working on that, which is fantastic because if you don't know what For the Culture is, it is a show that goes on during the GCW's collective. It's under the GCW banner, but it does an exceptional job of highlighting black wrestlers in professional wrestling. And they've done some great shows over the last 2 years, and this one will be, I think, equally good as well too, especially as we continue to have these conversations around diversity in pro wrestling and what that looks like. And I think it's important to see this show and elevate this show because we need to continue to support these wrestlers, not just in WWE or not just in AEW, but even before they get there or while they're competing in other smaller organizations like this. Not this weekend, but next weekend, I'm going to In Grapple We Trust, which is a DC-based wrestling promotion, and I'm looking forward to that. Big Swole versus Trisha Dora is one of the main events, so that'll be a fantastic match. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be a lot of fun, but For the Culture is a fantastic event. It'll be on Fight TV, so I usually try to catch some of the GCW events from WrestleMania weekend. That's when this is going down in Dallas, Texas. I will definitely be trying to see For the Culture when that goes down, as long as I don't have to work anytime around that weekend. And also Bloodsport. I'm a big fan of Josh Barnett's promotion as well, too, so I will probably catch that too. But this was some good news for the wrestling industry over the week. So going to switch over to get some thoughts about some of the things going on in wrestling this week. The first piece up is Dewdrop is now the top contender for Becky Lynch. And I think that, that's cool. I don't see her defeating Lynch and winning the title, but I'm glad to see a new face getting a shot. The way we got to the match was stupid because Dewdrop has been on a losing streak. And the finish in the match itself was stupid because Becky Lynch obviously gets involved, beats up Bianca Belair, while Dewdrop pins Liv Morgan, who just competed for the title for like 3 times in a row, at least twice. So she's clearly out of the title picture. But I think Dewdrop and Becky Lynch will be a good match. It'll be a different looking type of match than what Becky Lynch has probably had recently. Dewdrop can fucking work. I'm surprised I'm still actually calling her that name instead of calling her Piper, but she can definitely work. And there's nothing. This match isn't lacking in any way, shape, or form. I saw someone talk about how the Royal Rumble is always a good show to showcase new contenders for the top titles, and I think that that's pretty cool. Finn Balor got a shot at Brock Lesnar a couple years ago. Sasha Banks and Ronda Rousey had a great match a couple years ago. This year, Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, like that is probably why I will be watching this show. That's my birthday weekend. With COVID, you can only do so much, especially with it being cold. Like having a birthday in January already sucked enough because it was always cold. One day I'll tell the story of how my birthday got completely snowed out one year. But that's another conversation for another day. But also having it on top of COVID, I mean, this is the third one in a row. I don't remember what I did for 2020 or 2021. No, 2021, I had friends had a Zoom birthday party for me. But that's another talk. We're talking wrestling now. So the Royal Rumble is a good place for new challengers to get shots at titles. So Dewdrop and Becky Lynch should be a good match. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that as well too. But the Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley match is like where my mind is right now. And I'm actually going to use that to kind of segue into talking about the Rumble itself because I have no idea what the hell is going to happen this year. I'm excited that Mickie James is involved as the Impact Women's Champion. I know she's a free agent still. She's not officially signed to Impact, so she can kind of do whatever she wants. And this is more of a make good for how they treated her on the way out. And because they've cut so many women over the last 2 years that they can probably they can't field a full 30-woman Rumble without having green people in there who won't be able to work. I mean, I'm glad we're not going to fucking get Tiffany Stratton in the Rumble. I expect us to get probably Raquel, maybe Cora Jade in the Rumble. I feel like Dakota Kai's already been in one. She could be in another one as well too, just because she can work so well. I don't think Mandy's going to be in it. Maybe Toxic Attraction, just Gigi and JC. But I don't think they're going to put Mandy in it because I don't think they want to see her lose by being thrown out in such a fashion. Or maybe she does, and if she is in it, I guarantee you she'll be one of the last four. But I have no idea who's going to win. Right now, I'm leaning towards Bianca Belair just because I don't see anyone else who can be a top challenger to Becky Lynch. Charlotte Flair is in it. She's in the Rumble as a SmackDown Women's Champion, which tells you just how sparse that roster is. So I have no idea what the hell's going to happen. Bayley may be coming back. I hope she does. That would be a huge moment. They have announced, I believe, 19 other participants. So that leaves 11 more, which is a good amount of potential surprises. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the Rumble this year, but I have no idea what's going to happen. The men's Rumble is even wider open, but I think we should be set up to be disappointed here, and that's usually the case with WWE. Right now, I look at Big E as the biggest potential winner for the Rumble. Maybe a Kevin Owens, but I have no idea what they're doing with that. Like Seth Rollins is facing Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Random, okay. But they're still hinting at Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. And if they do, see, here's the only way I would be cool with them doing a unification match at WrestleMania is if night one is the WrestleMania match, and then night two, the winner of the unification match faces the winner of the Royal Rumble. That's the only way I would be okay with that. I don't want to see it. What I would like to see is that Roman Reigns cost Brock Lesnar the title at the Royal Rumble. That gives us Lesnar and Reigns, and it frees up the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley then wins the title at the Royal Rumble. Big E wins the Royal Rumble. They face off at WrestleMania to give us an actual build to what is a big match. We didn't really get that last one. We didn't get it at all last time when Big E cashed in. We got a feud after that, but we didn't get the build to it that it really deserved. That's just what I would do. I expect WWE to do some really stupid shit. Austin Theory can fuck around and win the Rumble this year, and then we're always going to be looking around like, no one wants this. So we'll see how that really looks, but there's no telling what's going to happen with the Rumble this year. And I mean, I'll watch. I'm like 80% sure I'll be watching. It depends on what I'm going to do for my birthday, as I mentioned, like 80% sure. So we'll see. I'm excited about Mickie James being included. I understand that this isn't the forbidden door being open that everyone's talking about. I've written about it 3 times. But let people enjoy this moment, please. Like, let people enjoy the idea of, hey, maybe we could see other people pop up. I mean, I saw Russell Votes tweeted about that WWE has been talking, quote unquote, about someone from AEW showing up in the Rumble. I mean, the only name I can think of would be Chris Jericho. And I don't give a fuck about that. But I think it would be huge if a contracted individual from another organization showed up. WWE has worked with other companies in the past. They worked with ECW. They worked with New Japan in the past. They worked with other groups. We've seen that. So I would like to see something like that happen. Give us something different and let people enjoy the speculation behind it. Don't shoot people's quote unquote joy down so quickly. And I mean, I get it. It's usually a bad idea to get your hopes up when it comes to WWE, but it's Rumble season. It's the road to WrestleMania. Let's kind of hope for something different here. I would like to see that, and it's great that Mickie James is the one that's kicking it down, kicking the door open, because, like I said, she didn't get the greatest shake when she left WWE, and she's been on a hell of a run since, showing how important she is to not just women's wrestling, but wrestling as a whole. And I think that that's worth recognizing because she's always been one of my favorites, but she's always been someone who I think, especially recently, ever since her return to WWE, hasn't gotten the best shake that and the respect that she deserves. Okay, so let's move on to Walter. He is heading to North America. This morning was the Walter's last stand in NXT UK. I wrote about this, I think, last week. But I don't know where he's going to end up. I hope he goes to the main roster. I mean, I could see him being in NXT. Walter versus Braun Breaker would be huge. And that would be a big name for Braun to work with. It's a big guy and it will help him. I mean, Braun's already over like Rover, so it'll be just another guy for him to kind of continue to build his legacy on. What I really want is Walter to be included in the Royal Rumble. We know Johnny Knoxville's in it, and he's probably going to take some ridiculous type of bump in the vein of Jackass to be eliminated. So I hope that it involves Walter caving in his chest with a vicious chop and then getting him out of there. But if Walter gets called up, I also wrote about this as well too. Imperium needs to get the call as well too. I think that they are more than ready to have a main roster run. And I'll be honest, I was not into those guys when they first showed up. I didn't know much about them. I didn't know much about the Imperium gimmick. I mean, it kind of like turned me off. Like, I don't want to see European guys talking about, posing the way they are. It's like that. It just didn't shine well with me. But they are some workers. Like, they're out there getting the job done. Their match, if you did not see it, with they had a triple threat match with MSK and GYV. I think that was fantastic. But their match with Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner, that was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And that was one of those moments where I sat back and was like, yo, these guys are out here working, and they've been doing that consistently since. So I definitely tip my hat off to them and show some respect there, because I am looking forward to what that group does. I hope that they come up to the main roster as a complete unit, because I definitely see them having some type of impact, and I think that they can really perform well if they're given the opportunity together. The last thing I'm going to talk about was something that was bubbling around after Saturday, where Battle of the Belts went down. AEW Battle of the Belts was held last Saturday, and people were looking at the ratings from the show and saying whether or not AEW should move to Saturdays. Now, the Friday Rampage did about 500K, I believe. The Saturday show did 700K. And it's funny, I was in a bar in Richmond, and they had it on there, which was weird. I mean, not weird, I guess it's Richmond, but still. But, Saturday, that's probably one of the only things that were on. But I don't see that happening. I think Saturday is a tough sports night. You run up against a lot of other combat sports. UFC really owns Saturday nights, especially when they're on ESPN. There's a lot of big boxing that's on Saturday nights as well. I don't know if that has the biggest crossover with AEW, but when college football comes back, that's a big college football night as well too. So I don't think that they want to play that game. Friday is where they'll be for Rampage. So I think that that's okay. What I will say about Battle of the Belts is that it felt like a missable show to me. I'm hearing great things about Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes from that night, but it felt like a missable show to me. And I'm hearing good things about Britt Baker and Rio too. I plan on going back and watch both of those. I didn't miss all of it. I caught it in spurts when I was in that bar in Richmond. But if they're going to do that, and they do that quarterly like they do some of their other pay-per-views, they're going to need to put something a little bit bigger on those to get people enticed to watch on a Saturday Saturday night because I'm already pressed to watch on Friday nights because those are like my evenings to kind of go out. So to do it again on Saturday, not gonna get me doing that too often. But with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and close out this episode of Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 105. My name is Raphael Garcia. You can catch me at rgarcia_sports. And you can check us out across so many multiple platforms. Go to your favorite podcast streaming platform, search for MMA Ratings, and check us out at MMAratings.net and .com, and also on YouTube at MMA Ratings. And thank you, everyone. Stay safe, wear your mask, get vaccinated. Black Lives Matter, and just enjoy your weekend, everybody. Have a great week.